Welcome to Project 3319, and today we will be talking about the status of the WWE post the draft. And with me today, I brought a guest along, one of my oldest friends. I played a lot of years of basketball with, and now we're still hanging out and stuff. My good buddy, TJ.
Hello, hello. What's going on with everybody?
See, TJ and I, we got this thing about the WWE. We got a lot of ideas and stuff, and we've seen the stuff that's taking place in Gallup opinions. So we're gonna share them with you, starting with the draft. So it's supposedly the dawn of a new era, and that era started at the draft a couple weeks ago. So let's might as well talk about the picks. Pick number one. Well, first round of picks. Seth Rollins and Charlotte and Finn Balor went to Raw, and then Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles went to SmackDown. How is this good and how is this bad?
Um, I don't see anything wrong with it. Like, it's cool for everybody involved. However, there is like debatable things, like for storyline purposes with everybody involved, if that makes sense. Like personally, like I like that they split Dean and Seth or whatever. Like, but it made Battleground predictable, and it made the rest of the draft predictable as well. And then it was also surprising that Finn Balor went so high. Like, I respect everything that Finn Balor has done in his wrestling career, but like for him to go number 5 and like with everybody left on the board, that was kind of surprising to me.
Right. Because in round two, we got the picks of Reigns, Brock, and the New Day on Raw, and then SmackDown picked up the two guys that have basically run the industry for the past 12 years, Randy Orton and John Cena.
Very true, very true. But like putting it in terms of bodies, like SmackDown is taking a loss because Raw for every 3 picks Raw gets, SmackDown gets 2. But then
Right.
at this point, Raw has already drafted a tag team, so they already have more bodies on the roster.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing with SmackDown. It kind of felt like, and their first picks are not bad picks at all. It's just
Agreed.
with the way they set up the rules, it's like it looks like Raw's getting the advantage right out the gate. For the 3-hour show, that they explained that they were going to get 3 picks for every 2 picks SmackDown gets. So it kind of seems like a disadvantage. And then let's see, in the first Diva was drafted way in round 1, and then
It was Charlotte, but
the round 3 finally got more Divas, and then Raw again drafted the Diva first, so it was Sami Zayn, and then Sasha Banks, and then Chris Jericho that were drafted, and then SmackDown picked up Bray Wyatt, and then Becky Lynch.
in all reality, I think that round was pretty soft. Personally, like Sami Zayn, there's no way he should have went that high based off of everything he's done in WWE. That was surprising. And Jericho shouldn't have went that high, especially for his role, because they're not putting him in like a relevant position. He's just like a job, not a jobber per se, but somebody that's like helping initiate the new era. But then SmackDown, you said they got Becky Lynch. Who else did they get?
Bray Wyatt.
I like the Bray pick, but I mean, like they do need divas, but I mean, I don't think Becky should be like the head of the diva division on SmackDown.
Right.
Personally,
And that's where I think SmackDown dropped the ball because they waited so long to pick up another diva and a tag team because Raw got Sasha and Charlotte, and then you look from the list on that of the healthy roster, it's like between Natalya and Becky Lynch, and then it's way down the bottom of the barrel from there. So I think they put himself in this match, but the Bray Wyatt pick was a good one because he is over with the audience, and then
very much so.
he's gonna. I'm predicting they're gonna do something with him big soon. They just haven't figured out what to do because he's always been placed in a position where he has to lose to the. They put him in a position where it's like if he beats the name, then it's a weird thing. So like when they put him against the Undertaker at WrestleMania, that was kind of weird.
Yeah, like, but you knew he was gonna lose to Taker at Mania. Well, that was kind of debatable because that was the year after he lost to Brock, so you didn't know what was gonna happen.
Right.
But it was like you would have known that he was gonna lose. But like, I feel like Bray has so much potential that they're not gonna use because they're worried about other things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know we're talking far into the future, but like with him and like since it's Dean versus Dolph now, and then Cena versus AJ, he's already the odd man out. So they won't use him for a while because they have to go 3 rounds with Cena and AJ, and they're only on round 2. So there's gonna be at least one more fight of that, and then I don't know what's gonna happen with the WWE title at SummerSlam, but Bray's gonna have to wait a while. I don't think he'll win the championship this year, but he will win very soon. Well, not very soon, but he will win in the near future.
You don't think this year?
No.
I think
There's not enough time because if they want to get AJ one as well.
And they want to make sure they show that Dean's strong.
Exactly.
Because they've been dogging him for a good year now.
And Randy's back, so after that little stupid Brock Lesnar thing, they have to find something for him to do.
Right.
Oh, they could do that. That'd be interesting.
Randy and
Bray. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I would watch that.
Yeah.
I know Randy, when they've interviewed Randy a while ago, no, maybe about a month ago before he was on at Battleground, and they talked to him about the whole idea of AJ Styles, and he said it's awesome that he's here, because he's one of these world travel veterans and all that.
Yeah.
He's talked about the idea of like finding something to do, and he was like he would be interested in jumping into a series of matches with AJ.
That'd be cool, but then that would leave Cena and Bray. We've already had that before.
Right.
So that wouldn't be worthwhile. I mean, we've already had like Randy and John, but I mean that's like eternal at this point. So.
Yeah, that's played out. That's like Austin and Rock.
Yeah.
It's had its moment. And I'm sure down the road we're probably gonna see them fight again.
Of course.
I still think my favorite Randy Cena matches was Breaking Point. They had an Iron Man match, and it was like if Cena loses, he leaves Raw because Randy had the title at the time. But I love that match. That's probably the highlight. And it was supposed to end the feud, but they've had matches since then like that when they unified the world title.
Gotcha.
And Randy won, which I was happy about.
Oh, and just for personal reference, I missed out on a few years in the middle where like
Right.
there was a little bit of character development, but I've gotten back on track for the past 2 or 3 years. Yeah, I got back when Dean and Seth had that match at Hell in a Cell, and then Bray intervened. That's when I got back on track.
Sweet. And the next round, Rusev and Lana, the newlyweds, were drafted to Raw along with Kevin Owens and Enzo and Cass, who was a new big hot tag team that I'm fairly certain they're going to stay at the top.
True, and I wish that that whole round would have went to SmackDown because they would have gotten so much more shine.
Yeah, SmackDown picked up The Miz, who is the Intercontinental Champion right now, and Baron Corbin.
I mean, Baron's cool, so he'll actually be able to grow. But the Miz, you could have threw the Miz anywhere, and I think Raw would have been a better fit. But
Right.
everybody that Raw picked should have went to SmackDown 100% because Rusev, he's like he could be a top tier wrestler, but they're not going to use him that way because there's too much talent on Raw, and it's very evident. And Kevin Owens, him and Sami Zayn shouldn't have been on the same show for one. That's another issue in its own. And then he's one of the best talents WWE has. I don't care what anybody says. I'm a Kevin Owens stan. I'll own up to that. I'm a Kevin Owens stan. And he's not getting the respect he just when he was on NXT, everybody knew what was going on. Everybody knew he was the best. But now it's just what happened to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Enzo and Cass, that's cool. Them on Raw works, but they could carry the tag division on SmackDown. Although there is that new NXT tag team that's going to run the division probably. But we'll talk about them later.
And The Miz, I think The Miz, I liked on this past episode of SmackDown where he was talking to Dan Bryan about something and telling him about you should respect your draft pick, and Daniel was like,
no, he was like, I didn't pick you, I picked your title.
Yeah. I was like, it makes sense to me. And then Baron Corbin, I've kind of been, he's a wrestler for me that I'm kind of not, I don't hate him. I don't hate him at all. But he's just one of those guys, I haven't seen exactly what everyone's been talking about, because I know everyone seems like to either, if you're a fan of this guy, you praise him to the moon, and I just haven't quite gotten it onto that boat yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I do see that there's a potential in him. I just haven't seen him on the mic that often.
Because there's a good reason for that.
Yeah,
there's a good reason you haven't seen him on the mic.
Yeah, he's got a great nickname and a nice look. He's getting a lot of flack because he's kind of fading up top, but that can all be fixed. But I've made comments about his ring attire. He just looks the way he just looks just kind of just it just doesn't look well formed kind of thing. And he talks about he's like, I'm in this for the money and not in this to make friends or anything and he's got a good character and all that. Yeah. So
he's about his business. He's there to work. Yeah. And I feel I've seen a decent amount. I remember when him and Apollo Crews had a feud on NXT when Apollo Crews first got there, because that's when Apollo Crews was just skyrocketing. He was about to be in the NXT title picture, but then he intervened, and that's how their feud started. And then I figured out like who Baron Corbin was and what Baron Corbin was about. It was really interesting. So I think he has a lot of potential too. Like based off of people that have gotten drafted that haven't proven themselves, quote unquote, in the WWE, well, on the main roster per se. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with him.
All right, and then in the next round, Raw picked up another interesting pick, and it kind of ties in, and we probably didn't talk about this from earlier when AJ got drafted, but the Raw picked up the members of the club, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, who and that was an interesting pick because it was like that was the first team that got split up because the Lucha Dragons, even though they haven't been drafted at this part early in the round yet, they did formally break up before the draft.
And the Wyatt family.
And the Wyatt family. So
I wouldn't really call the club a team. I would have not to like say it poorly, but I would have called Gallison, Luke
Festus.
No, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. I would have called them AJ's backup singers because they didn't do anything unless AJ gave them the okay or said he needed help.
Right, but they're good to watch in the ring, and
agreed.
And I enjoyed them on the mic. They're pretty funny. I like Carl Anderson. Was talking about his high Asian wife. That just had me rolling, and then the whole beat up John Cena thing was pretty funny as well.
That's getting played out kind of fast though, because everybody knows nobody likes John. Well, nobody quote unquote likes John Cena, but John Cena he carries the company.
And Gallows Luke Gallows always feels like just like an out of touch dad, just like always trying to be cool. Like in what was that movie like? What was the movie with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell, like Stepdad or something like that?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Oh, Daddy's Home. That's what it was.
Yeah, Daddy's Home. It kind of feels like that. Like just one's just a little bit too out of touch that just doesn't catch up on everything. But it's cool. They're funny. And then SmackDown picked up American Alpha, a hot team out of NXT, who I haven't watched much of, to be honest.
I agree.
They have a great look. I've watched their match with the Revival.
That was a great match.
It was a really interesting match, and then it's one of those things for me. It was like, and I read up about Gables, a former Olympian, and then Jason Jordan's former division qualifier. Both got strong wrestling backgrounds, and it's one of those things where it's like I hope they don't fall into the same pit that Swagger did, where I believe he was probably put in a position to where they wanted to make another Kurt out of him, but they pushed him to the top too early, and then he didn't figure out a way to stop the free fall up until Zeb Coulter. And then now that Zeb Coulter's gone again, now he's kind of just he's kind of been sitting at the bottom. Not necessarily. He's been on TV.
Kind of been sitting at the bottom, man. Come on.
He's been on TV, so it's not like I know he's still there. It's not like he's been forgotten.
Like main event and Superstars, not like SmackDown and Raw.
Yeah, like I remember he had a match with Rusev, and then Titus came out and saved him.
Well, yeah, because he was in the act like it was like a reinvented feud, but that was after the whole Titus O'Neil thing when he came back from suspension or whatever, right. And they realized that they suspended him for the wrong reason, so they had to reward him and they gave him a push, even though they knew he wasn't gonna have a legitimate chance. But it is what it is.
And then there was a July 4th match on Raw.
That whole episode was really bad.
Yeah, the whole episode was kind of weird. The match was fine. The one moment that I did like about the match, other than the way it ended, was I forget the team that Cesaro and Swagger were called, but they did see each other in the ring, and they did the We the People, and then they went at it, and that was pretty cool. But I mean, I just hope the American Alpha doesn't fall into the same trap that he did. And they kind of seem like the way they're designed and everything, they can kind of outstretch and do whatever they need to.
Yeah.
So I hope they're just like as awesome as I want them to be, because they look like they can be really good.
Especially in comparison to all the other tag teams on SmackDown, there's no quote unquote real competition. I mean, well, as it looks, you never know. Like right now, it looks like they're probably just gonna run through everybody and just be the top dogs by far.
Right.
Oh, but back to Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Like, I think the quote unquote club is gonna find a new head honcho in a short little guy named Finn Balor.
Right, because I remember, what was it, AJ or one of the club members said they were like,
they want to expand.
Yeah, they're like this. They were not splitting. We're just expanding.
Yeah.
So I believe there's probably at least 2 members of the club that are going to be initiated, I guess.
Yeah.
idea with the news breaking out recently of like a lot of prospects of members of the business that haven't been here in a while, like Sheldon Benjamin, like Carlito, like MVP Mysterio, Kurt Angle, Sheldon, and others. Word has gone out that they might be making a return, or some of them as such. Like someone we've seen, like Sheldon Benjamin, we know is coming back. Jinder Mahal came back, so there is reason to believe that there's going to be more returning superstars that actually join this club. We just don't know who at this point.
Like I dig it, but like why? Like why are we bringing back all of these old faces that we've had in years past? Like their time is come and gone. We're trying to usher in a new era. I mean, like I think it's if they're bringing them back, it proves how bad WWE creative is.
Right.
If they can't like get the same attraction with their new people, that they have to bring back old people to make their new people look good. Like that's just a whole nother problem in its own.
And then some of the deals are it's like yeah, you can just see those alone. Like I think even though the Shining Stars aren't really doing much, I don't think they need Carlito. Like I've kind of, whatever they've done with Carlito in the past is pretty much it. Like his purpose wouldn't serve much here, especially in a time where we got Enzo and Cass.
Right.
But I mean, with a prospect like Kurt Angle, and the deal with him was like when he was talking to Hunter, he said it was a part-time deal that he was looking for, and the same with Jeff Hardy.
So kind of like a Brock thing, or just like a
they'll
be there for like a short amount of time, but they'll be very consistent while they're there.
Yeah, like a Brock. I think it was like a Brock thing because with Kurt, he's been saying about the retirement because he's almost 50 now, so he's been talking about like if I come back, it's gonna be like maybe a match here, maybe a match there, but that'll be about it.
Right.
And then he might just like sit there and manage, which would be fine with me because there's a lot. He's been in the business a lot. Who's already a great athlete and was great in the business, so it's like I'm sure there's knowledge he can pass on.
What would he really do, like as a manager, though? Is what I'm saying.
Any number of things.
Like, would he like be like a legit manager, or would he be like a Mick Foley or a Daniel Bryan manager?
I'm pretty sure he might. Given what I've seen of him from Impact and stuff, I would guess he would probably be more of like a Mick Foley type of manager, which would be cool. He doesn't have to do much. He's earned his keep, so it's like, and I know he's on the way, and he's been trying to wind down. So all you have to do is just like come back for a year or something. But I think that would be cool. But then like it was okay. So the rest of the draft went to in that round. Big Show was drafted to Raw, and Ziggler was drafted to SmackDown, and then Nia Jax was drafted to Raw.
I like the Nia Jax pick, but she wouldn't have been one of my NXT divas. And honestly, neither would have been like the other people behind her, like Carmella. But never mind. But she wouldn't have been the first diva I picked. Like she's dominant.
Mine either.
Like personally, like I mean, like I'm not gonna say who my pick was, but like I mean, Asuka would have been a good one. So and Nia Jax was cool, but they need Asuka because she's the champion. Like I had one person that sticks out like head over heels over everybody else that didn't get picked, but I feel like she'll be coming very soon, and I hope she does come very, very soon.
Right.
But I mean, I think Nia Jax will be. Well, no, I think they pulled her up too soon or put her on the wrong show because this Sasha Banks and Charlotte feud is gonna last for a while. Personally, I think it's gonna go on for a long time.
That feud still has merit to it. Like that can still keep going.
Right.
I think Nia Jax she wouldn't have been my first pick. She's for the round that she got picked in. It's like that was an interesting choice of a draft. I mean, I won't complain about it. It's like she's unique. I don't know what she can do beyond her in-ring work, and she can kind of. I remember when they pulled up. They pulled the other Charlotte and then Sasha Banks up and Becky Lynch up to the main roster, and it was a huge big deal. And with Nia Jax, it's also kind of a huge big deal, but it's the prospect of her being kind of mysterious. Like no one really knows if she'll be able to hold up there because she's very powerful, but it's like how much can get you? Almost like the version of Braun Strowman.
See, but like the thing with the Three Horsewomen was like it was really important that all of them came up because the women's division was pretty much dead. Like to put it bluntly, the women's division was dead.
True.
Because like Nikki Bella ran through everybody, and it was clear as day that she was the top dog, and she was the alpha female.
Yeah.
And then like I mean, there was Paige, which I hope they do something with her because I was a big fan of Paige. I really like what Paige did, but she beat Paige. Like they had her little faction with her and Alicia, her sister and Alicia Fox, and it was just Paige getting beat left and right, and Naomi getting beat left and right, and Tamina getting beat left and right, and it was just there was nothing for the division to do. Like it wasn't entertaining. Like
Right. And I think it was kind of just how they worked it because I know some of those girls can actually go.
yeah, fact, 100%.
I think Naomi can go. She can go in the ring. I believe
Foxy can go.
Alicia Fox. Yeah, she's a veteran. She can go in the ring.
Foxy can go.
I think.
Paige can still go.
Yeah, Paige is great. Emma, I believe she can go. I think she's been retooled the way she's been tooled.
See, but like they pulled her up to the main roster and they had to send her back down because it didn't work.
And then they retooled her, and then they brought her up, and then she got injured. And that's why she didn't get drafted. Like a lot of the injured talent didn't get drafted.
I think the top injured talent off the dome is Luke Harper.
Yes, and he didn't get picked up.
But we'll talk about that later, I guess.
Yeah, and then Dolph Ziggler, lower down the roster than I would have expected, but he's talented.
Facts, 100%. Like that, I think that whole era after like Randy up to the Shield got disrespected by the company. Like not even like saying it in like a negative manner, but that whole like time frame, those like 8 years of people got like overlooked. In my opinion.
For me, I've always, even though I didn't really like him for the majority of his career, actually, I always put Kofi and Dolph on pretty much the same level.
Agreed. Kofi was so talented, and they used him so much, but they never gave him the push.
Yeah, the closest Kofi got was a feud he had with Randy Orton.
Right.
And then that pretty much was the summit for him. Like even when he went to Elimination Chamber matches, like the first time he went, he didn't even make it to the ring because he got attacked by Edge.
Or in ladder matches, like.
Yeah, and he was a highlight for the ladder matches after a while after Shelton left. So I put him always on the same page with Dolph, and Dolph actually got technically he has 2 world title reigns to his belt.
What you mean technically?
Because the first reign he got, it was like literally Vicky Guerrero gave him the title, and then Edge beat him for it the same night. And then the second one, he actually won in a match, I believe, against Alberto Del Rio at some point. But he actually did win the title, and then he held it for like maybe a day or something like that. But he actually has 2 world title reigns, and he has the Intercontinental and U.S. title reigns. So he's talent, and every match you watch, he's gonna give it his all. I can tell he's giving his all now of his matches. So he's a good pick. But some of the other talents. The round we're getting into now is where it looks kind of weird that they got drafted this low. So first pick Rog took was Neville.
But he's been
injured.
So that's
yeah,
okay.
He's been injured, so I'll give that a pass.
I wonder if they're gonna keep him like with the main people, or will they like truly shift him to the cruiserweights? I feel like it'd be better if they did, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, with their Raw's bringing up a cruiserweight division, I believe Neville has the ability to hang with the topper talent because if you watch his matches with Cena and Money Bank matches where he went on with tit for tat with Orton and Jericho, the guy can do work in the ring, but what's great about Neville is that he's utility. Like you can probably put him anywhere and he'll figure out a way to stand tall. Like even at Summerslam where they actually made him work in the ring with a professional actor who's an athlete, but still, it was.
I forgot about that.
They put him in the ring with Stephen Amell from Arrow, who's great. I'm a huge fan of Stephen Amell, and he actually did pretty well in the match. He did good ring work for a guy that's not his thing. He did pretty good ring work, but they put him in the ring with Neville, and it made Neville look incredible, especially for the people that hadn't watched wrestling but wanted to see what Stephen Amell was doing. So I think Neville is one of those guys that the company needs to bring like a relevancy to it, like. Because he's so unique and so dynamic with his moveset that he brings something that no one else can bring to the company, and that he can do the top star thing. But should they put him in the cruiserweight division, he's just going to thrive still. So that's fine. And then Natalya got drafted to SmackDown, which I believe that was their second diva of pick. And it was an alright pick because
so it went Becky, then Natalya, nobody else in between.
Yeah, no one in between.
That's crazy.
And then Raw picked up Cesaro.
He should have been to SmackDown too, because he's super talented, but he gets no love. I mean, he gets love, but not in the proper manner, for a lack of a better term.
Right. And there's a thing, word got out that, and this might be false, but there's word going around that the reason that Cesaro was drafted so low in the draft, considering considering his ability, and
his
that
fan base.
yeah, and that every match that he's in, no matter who he's in there with, is probably the best match on the show. The reason that he got drafted so low is believed because he said something to akin to being like, "Yeah, I want to go to SmackDown." As to be like, he's like, "I don't want to be on a Raw brand." He was kind of stating that, like, being upset being drafted to Raw. Which, if that was their way to punish him, I'm not a huge fan of that kind of punishment.
And plus, they did talk about it this past Monday when he had his match with Sheamus. Because they talked about when he was in the office with, it was him, Stephanie, Sheamus, and Mick Foley, and they were talking. Mick said, "I heard rumors that neither one of y'all were excited to be drafted to SmackDown, or something along those lines." So yeah, I did hear about that as well.
Yeah. So if that was the way to punish him, that was a bad way to punish him because he's gonna make up for it in more ways than one.
True.
And then Alberto was drafted to SmackDown.
That was really low for him. That was crazy.
Yeah, he's a very talented guy. Just came back, and then Sheamus was drafted to Raw.
He's been back for a minute.
Yeah, he's been drafted for a minute.
Back for a while.
A little while now. It's just, and then on SmackDown, you've seen SmackDown recently. He hasn't been in a high profile match.
But they don't know what to do with him. Well,
yeah.
And then plus they had the single roster, so they had too much talent to work with for everybody. So
right.
So they had to do something. But I feel like he got drafted really low. But I don't know what they're gonna do with him when he comes back.
And Sheamus, who is I believe now a 3 or 4-time world champ. Yeah, 4-time world champ. Drafted way down here is weird. And then in the next round, 2 tag teams back to back. Raw got the Golden Truth. And then SmackDown picked up the Usos.
I feel like the Usos still got the gusto, they got the go, they got whatever they need to do, like to be popular again. But I don't know where they're gonna get that push from, especially since SmackDown also has American Alpha.
Right.
And it's been very evident that they want American Alpha to run SmackDown's tag division.
They could do some good matches.
True.
Just put them 2 in the match and watch them go. Because the Usos, that's what they need. I think is just they need an opportunity to. Because the tag teams on NXT, the advantage they got over the tag teams on Raw is that they have room to show that they can do a lot in a match. Like their matches can be like very long and whatnot. You can have a great tag team match. Can't really have that on the main roster because it was constantly individual superstars being teamed together, or it was a New Day versus one of the upstarts like the Vaudevillains.
They suck too. Just throwing that. I mean, no, let me take that back. They don't suck. They didn't get a push either. They didn't get a push. Like when they got called up, it wasn't like whoa, we're so excited about the Vaudevillains. It was just our NXT tag division's getting crowded and we need to move somebody.
Right, and Simon Gotch has backstage. There's a report going around that at the draft, he got in a fight with Sin Cara backstage, and then
like fisticuffs fight or just
fisticuffs, just like not just off the cusp, just like Sin Cara and Simon Gotch had to duke it out backstage.
For what?
I believe
something stupid, obviously.
Probably, and it's like, and this isn't the first time this version of Sin Cara has been in a fight with someone backstage. This isn't the first time. This Sin Cara was formerly Hunico. The original Sin Cara left, and then Simon Gotch, just like for some reason he's generally not liked. And I assume if it's for anything, it's probably having to do still with that bump that he gave Enzo, which was nasty, but still true. But let's see, and Raw picked up Titus O'Neil.
That don't matter. He's a jobber at this point.
And then SmackDown picked up Demon Kane.
He's a jobber.
He's utility.
Yeah.
Because the way they worked him in the Battle Royal, it was like, okay, well he's still a threat, but he doesn't need to be on the top.
See, but then like they pretty much had Kane get rid of everybody, and then have him just just take the dive to Apollo Crews. Like that was I don't know.
And then Raw picked up Paige.
But I don't think she's been back on TV since I haven't seen Paige on TV in a very long time.
Right. And then they all in the next round, Raw picked up Darren Young with Bob Backlund.
Yeah, that's whatever.
They're trying to make Darren Young great again, and then Titus O'Neil, as he stated, when was he ever great?
True.
And then
I mean, when they were the primetime players, he was pretty great in my opinion.
Right. That was good. The primetime players were a good tag team. I don't know why they keep splitting them up. SmackDown picked up Kalisto, who I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of Kalisto's work. I watched his NXT matches and I thought he was great. And then when he came up to the main roster, I thought he was good.
Respect, but you can't make Rey Mysterio. Point blank. Period.
Right.
Respect, you can't make Rey Mysterio.
Which is a problem that anybody that wears a mask and it's under
and it's Hispanic.
yeah, and it's under hype will have if they in the company now. It's like you gotta get the stigma, gotta break the mold of being like Rey Mysterio.
Yep.
So we'll see where Kalisto goes from there. And immediately after that, Raw picked up Sin Cara.
Well, I mean, they already openly said that when they were splitting up. So
yeah, and then which Sin Cara, I don't know how they're gonna use him or how they're gonna make him different. This one's already shown that he can play the heel card.
True.
So we'll see where he goes from there. And then SmackDown picked up Naomi.
I mean, they got to keep her and her husband together. So
True. And then Raw picked up Jack Swagger. And SmackDown picked up the Ascension.
They haven't been relevant in a very, very long time. I think.
Right.
Like
They could be.
No. So remember when they came up, they were gassed up really, really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't do anything.
Right.
I think they got like a mini push and it didn't work. Now they don't know what to do with it because it's not like they can change. If they had to repackage them, they would have to disappear for a very extended period of time.
Right.
And I don't know if they're creative or they are willing to do that. They want a quick fix.
Or they would have to do something to tool them, almost in a way I guess like they tooled up the New Day when it was a match with Kofi and Big E and a tag match and they lost to whom I forget, but they had Xavier come out and say we gotta change it up, and then like maybe a couple months later, we saw their return, but they were all repackaged and retooled as a New Day.
But who would be their third? That's the thing.
That is a good question. I have no idea, unless they're trying to be new members of
The club.
that would work.
I mean, like you said, are they on Raw or SmackDown?
They are on SmackDown.
So, I mean, I guess they could be AJ's little henchmen, like, because they're not going to be good for anything else. They could just back him up.
Mm-hmm.
If the club is going to quote unquote expand anyway, so might as well.
Right. And then Raw picked up the Dudley Boys, who I believe they got. It's one of those things where it's like they got, because they've had so much ring work over the last 20 years that they probably got. They're more as to be like help in the backstage locker room with the younger talent than this. So I mentioned the ring work because you see the Dudleys, you know what you're gonna get, and we're in an era right now with WWE where it doesn't look like they're gonna do with the Dudleys what they could do.
I guess so.
Because those matches that they did with the Hardys and Edge and Christian took.
Those were fantastic.
Yeah, those were the matches that'll take. They were fantastic, and they would also take years off their lives. And I don't know if WWE is willing to do that with them.
True.
So, but speaking of talent that got a push but doesn't seem to go anywhere, SmackDown picked up Zack Ryder.
The botcher.
Who?
How do you miss a standing drop kick on somebody not moving? Like.
For those that don't know, in the Battle Royal, in SmackDown's inaugural Battle Royal for SmackDown Live, Zack Ryder, in a moment where he was trying to perform a dropkick on Kalisto, who was sitting at the time, he missed. And then later on in the match, when he was going to perform a diving elbow drop from the top rope on Apollo Crews, I believe, or Kalisto again, he slipped off the top rope.
And then that messed up other people for the night. Like, I remember when it was, what do they call that 6-man match now?
The tag match? Or
No.
the 6-pack challenge?
That thing. I remember when AJ was about to hit somebody with a phenomenal forearm during the 6-pack challenge, he stopped and, like, jiggled with the ropes to see if they were actually secured, because he must have seen the botch. So, like, that Zack Ryder thing. Oh, my God.
Yeah. But he's a guy, he can
Woo.
Yeah, he can. I think he has, and he's done so much with the business already. So I believe he's in a bad position to be like where there's so much talent where it's like, even though he has some, it's like it's not enough to stick out.
I think that's why they brought the Hype Bros back together, personally.
Right. So they could have something because his energy he's unique, but it's like but in the state of like of all these guys that can go, it's like his fighting style and everything. It'll fly under the radar when you're fighting guys like Cena and AJ and Dolph Ziggler on his own roster.
True.
And then after that, SmackDown picked up Apollo Crews.
Hey, I guess that I like that because when he was on the full roster, he didn't get any shine. So I guess this will be good for him.
Yeah, Apollo Crews amazes me because Apollo Crews really to me it feels like probably most like a comic book character because there's no way someone that buff could be able to do the things that he does. And I say that knowing that in a way it reminds me of Neville because Neville is jacked to the moon, but he is huge on the high flying. So, but there's a good pick as long as they figure out something to do that give him a character because Apollo, right in the ring, the character development part is lacking.
Right.
Like his thing right now is just he's very happy, which I can get, but still it's like compared to some of the roster where it's not unique. And then Raw picked up Mark Henry, who's utility. And then SmackDown picked up NXT's Alexa Bliss.
I don't. I think it'll be good, like long term. But I haven't heard much from her while she was in NXT. I've heard
much
from her recently. So.
And then Raw picked up Braun Strowman.
He will be perfectly fine without the Wyatt family, but I don't know what they're gonna do with him.
Right.
Because right now he looks inhumane. So like they have like straight up like he's only been wrestling like locals. That's another problem. But if they want to make him look like a pure wrestler, they're gonna have to find somebody that will make him look like a human and can be beaten.
Right.
Like the only just put it in terms like a Brock Lesnar. The only people that have done that for him is John Cena and The Undertaker. Well, in the past 2 years, yeah. And the only people that made Brock Lesnar look human is The Undertaker and John Cena.
And kind of Triple H.
But did they ever they never really had an issue or a match.
Yeah, Triple H. Remember he broke Triple H's arm or something like that, and then he fought him at WrestleMania, and Hunter won the match.
What WrestleMania was that?
29.
Yeah, that was a little bit before I think because I'm talking about post becoming the 1 in 21 and
right.
or whatever. I think I'm talking post that time.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the only people that have made him look human.
Right.
Other than that, Brock's just been this godly character that can't be touched.
I like his new finisher for Braun Strowman, the reverse choke slam.
Better than that bear hug.
Yeah, I like that. SmackDown picked up the tag team of Breezango.
I think they're gonna be interesting, just like the Golden Truth. I don't see anything positive coming out of them, but I mean, you never know.
They're the team that I can see. If SmackDown ever gets around to making the tag titles, their own tag titles, I can see them being a team that
takes the L.
Yeah, they could take the L, or they could get the titles, but it would be it's one of those reigns where you can't wait for them to lose because they're supposed to, but they're not going to, because they're a good heel. They can be a good heel team that's just you can't believe that they got the titles. For me, almost like Eminem, way back when.
Lead up, stop it.
Almost like them, because I know they pushed Tyler Breeze, and then because they had him fight matches with Dolph, and he would beat him. And then Fandango never, up until maybe when he became Fandango, had any relevance or anything that made him special.
True.
Up until he became Fandango, because at the time he was still Johnny Curtis. But this pairing is a good pairing, so.
Yeah, don't you dare compare Eminem to these two clowns.
I mean, Eminem was kind of clownish.
Stop it. Not like these two. Those two characters were fantastic. That was one of my favorite tag teams.
George Mercury and Johnny Nitro.
Yes, that was one of my favorite tag teams. Point blank.
And Raw got Bo Dallas. One of the members of one of the members of the what are they called?
The Social Outcast.
Yeah. Got a Bo leave.
If I was him, I'd actually be upset because my biological brother is significantly more popular than me. He's this, that, and the other. I'd actually be upset if I was Bo Dallas personally.
And I believe Bo Dallas got pushed earlier on because he.
When he got pulled up.
Yeah, when he got pulled up to the main roster, and he had a slightly different look. And then since then, he's gotten kind of went on the fall side. And then, speaking of fall side, SmackDown picked up Eva Marie.
I hate that girl.
who is.
I really do. I hate her so much.
I think the reason they've invested a lot of money into her,
and ain't got no results.
And the results have been so far, and that's why I think they're practically around because they're still waiting for the payoff. And it's just we haven't seen the payoff yet.
And we probably won't because her in-ring skills are terrible, as proven last Tuesday.
Yeah, to the point of they brought Brian Kendrick back to the company, and they were like they had him train Eva Marie. And Brian Kendrick is one of those world travel like veterans. He's like a great high flyer and all that. He's got the great history, the fundamentals and all that, but
she can't wrestle. Like point blank, she cannot wrestle.
We haven't seen her, and I don't think we haven't seen her have a serious match in
ever
a long time. I can't even tell you.
I think she had one on NXT. I can't remember if it was Bayley or if it was Asuka, but she had a match. But I think Nia Jax intervened, which made it lose its credibility. So she can't wrestle, man.
And as we get, let's see, and then Raw picked up the Shining Stars to end that round.
Cool.
And Primo and Epico, who they've retooled several times with Primo.
Several times.
Which is fine, I guess. As long as he's getting work, that's good. I mean, good for him. And so the same goes for Epico. And then in the final round, no, not the final round yet. Well, maybe. Let's see. Alicia Fox was drafted to Raw. A veteran. She can go, but they haven't done much with her.
She hasn't been on TV since Nikki Bella got hurt.
Yeah.
Oh no, because remember she was in that WrestleMania match, the 10 tag match. Like
they were searching for people in that match because they were like when on the face side they had Eva Marie.
Exactly.
So they were searching for talent. Which even then you could have. Even though the best match of that WrestleMania was the Divas match between...
Stop it. Not that 10 tag. Are you talking about the triple threat?
I'm talking about the triple threat.
Okay, all right.
Becky Lynch versus Sasha versus Charlotte.
That's cool. Whoa, boy, we was about to have a long discussion about...
That was the best match of WrestleMania 32.
Agreed.
Bar none.
Yeah.
And then... So they were searching for other Divas to fill spots, which even then, they could have called up in the NXT.
Maybe.
Yeah. And then, but they did do that in the next paper for Battleground, so it was pretty cool.
No.
That was cool though to watch.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, which is a shame that she didn't get drafted. And
I think she got the biggest pop of the night. Like thinking about it,
I
think she got the biggest pop of the night
because she can sell that merchandise. Because she's such a dork of a character, and like the whole hugging thing that works for her is like that can sell.
And that's why Bootios work.
And they got their fan bases, so they can work this. It's just if just them wanting to do it. And Bayley. I think the only thing about her that I haven't been attracted about is her finisher, just the belly to Bailey. And it's only because it's been a move that I've seen done as a regular move so many times.
I mean, she'll grow as a wrestler, but I mean, like it's proven she can wrestle.
Yeah.
But I feel like if she does, I mean, like think about Seth's finisher. His is a copy, like his is a carbon copy of somebody else's.
Right.
Though his other one got banned.
Right.
It doesn't matter. His new finisher is a carbon copy.
Right.
So.
And then let's see, Eric Rowan was drafted to SmackDown.
I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know.
I don't know what they're gonna do with Rowan either. I believe he's still gonna be a member of the based off of last Friday's SmackDown or Tuesday's SmackDown. He's still gonna be Wyatt related, but I don't know. And then Raw got Dana Brooke.
Didn't she hurt?
No.
She's that's her. I mean, I don't really care. I think Dana Brooke I think she'd be fine. I can't wait till she turns on Charlotte. I feel like it's gonna happen, but I don't know when.
And then SmackDown got Mojo Rawley.
Hype Bros.
Yep.
Hype Bros back.
And then at the bottom we got Curtis Axel, drafted to Raw.
Oh well.
And then the last pick of the draft was Carmella was drafted to SmackDown.
I feel like it would have been better had she gone to Raw so she could have been with Cass and Enzo.
Right.
The funniest thing, I think the funniest part of the entire draft, other than them screwing up people and them not going to like brands where they all got shine, was this new Heath Slater gimmick. I think this is the best part.
Undrafted.
I'm the hottest free agent that you could sign.
And Shane's like, look, just send me your resume. He's like, you need a resume? Search me up on the WWE Network, which apparently if you search him up,
they stay plug the network they'll plug the network for anything.
If you, I believe it's been told to me like if you look up Heath Slater on the WWE Network, the first thing that pops up is this match he had with Adam Rose's bunny that he lost.
Oh, I remember that.
That's the first thing that pops up.
Because the bunny like cost them some matches or whatever. And, like he wanted to figure out the bunny. I remember that feud. That was the dumb. Oh, that was silly.
And then, but
back to Carmella. I mean, I think she'll be interesting. I guess
it'll be. It's weird because it almost feels like connected to Enzo and Cass, it works, and then when you disconnect her, it's like, well, it's almost feel like disjointed. Almost not in a way like with the club they have the advantage of AJ can do well on his own, and he was doing fine on his own when they came. Before they came, and then even now he's doing fine on his own. And a club, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows can function as by themselves because of the way their style is heels. Carmella, she's just so
a carbon copy of Enzo and Cass put together.
Yeah,
well, essentially,
and just like the Queen of Staten Island and.
I mess with Enzo and Cass in that show. Bada boom, those guys in the room. There's one word to describe you. I'm gonna spell it out. Yeah. I'm a certified Gina bona fide stud, and he's 7 feet tall. You can't teach that. Like I like that. Like that's good rings. Like that's good mic skills.
Her on her own though.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Like the Queen, like and the way she talked. I don't know if it was just this past Friday, or if she like really talks like this. Because for me, every time I heard her voice, it was like it sounded like she was just like her nose was closed the whole time. It just kind of sounded nasally. Like bless you. Yeah, it kind of sounded nasally to me because it was like the Queen of Staten Island. Like it was just like it came off as annoying. And then it was like I don't know, but hopefully she'll be able to thrive.
Hopefully, one can only hope.
And SmackDown will get a women's title of some sort.
They have to.
Just give it a different name.
They physically have too many divas on the roster to not do that.
Just give it a weird, like, interdimensional champion. I heard someone had a good thought that what if, because there's credence for this in the past with China. What if, like, at some point the SmackDown was like, the divas took reign of the Intercontinental title.
If the divas took the Intercontinental title?
Yeah, they were the women's division of somehow, some way.
What girl gonna beat the Miz? If they had Nia Jax, that makes sense. But what diva on that roster can beat him?
Yeah. I mean, that would be the tough part. Like, who would Miz fight and who would the challenge, and then who would get it off of him?
I mean, they could like connect it because him and Maurice were a draft pick, so they could connect the title to them too, and one of them could fight Maurice again or something like that.
It was like a match between like Miz. He has this match scheduled up, but he can't fight, so he's like, Maurice, you gotta defend it for me.
Yeah, or something.
And she ends up losing. That would make sense to me. I think that would be pretty cool if that happened. Or they could be like, because I remember when that first episode of SmackDown came on, and you had all the superstars, women and men, on the apron, and then at some point Shane and Dane were like any of you can get a shot at this WWE World Heavyweight title, and you see the look on Becky's eyes, and she's just like, really, anybody? And I'm like,
obviously not her.
Yeah. Becky gets trashed so badly, and it's bad, and it's messed up because she's actually really good.
Man,
I think so.
She's the worst out of the 4 horsewomen.
No, I would say Becky's probably.
That's what I'm saying. Becky's the worst out of the 4 horsewomen.
No, not Becky. Bailey.
Stop it.
I think Bailey.
We can argue about this later. We can argue about this off mic.
Right. I think Becky. She just needs to get rid of those guards on her knees because they fall during like every one of the matches. And that was pretty much the draft. And then we went to Battleground, and then like to really set in the standard, just saw the Rusev went through in his match, and then I don't even want to discuss what happened in Darren Young's match because it's just the most confusing thing I've ever seen. Like I literally just stopped and I read it, I was like, why? And didn't make any sense to me. And what else happened? The New Day and the Wyatts.
And then the Wyatts won in their last full effort as the collection, but they're still like Eric Rowan's still like pretty much one of Bray's henchmen, but and then like Xavier Woods had his little sketch thing where he got freaked out, and then we got another round of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. This has to stop.
It was the final round, and it was actually a good match.
Quote unquote final round. This has to stop.
Yeah,
I need Kevin Owens to move on from this garbage.
Yeah, I believe it was a good match. I don't know if the botch that Sami had on the rope There was a point in the match where he tried to go for a moonsault on the outside of the ring, and the way he did it, he bounced wrong and he landed kind of on the shoulder on Kevin. And I don't know if it was a plan bust or what, but it was like, for the moment, the match for me stopped, and I was like, oh Jesus, this wasn't happening now. Because
I'm gonna need this feud to end immediately.
Because I was watching him, I think Sami Zayn and Sasha, and then what's his name, Big E. They have the same issue. Like anytime they do a move on the outside, I get worried because of the way they land all the time. Like when Big E does that spear through the ring, I'd be like worried because I'm like, this dude's gonna land on his neck. And then Sasha, anytime she flies up the ring, she lands like forward on her back. I'm like, oh Jesus. And then Bailey made her debut on the main.
That was super late.
And we can only hope that she gets called up pretty soon because that match was great.
On a completely just separate entity, I have a problem with two things. That one of them is champions taking pins. That has happened a lot in these past couple weeks.
Champions taking pins.
Champions taking pins and people on the come up taking pins. Think about how many times AJ has been pinned in the past month.
Yeah.
And then Sasha just got pinned. She just won her championship Monday, and she got pinned Tuesday or the week after.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't happen. And then the Miz took a pin to Randy Orton. Although he shouldn't have been fighting Randy in the first place.
Right.
The champion had to take a pin.
Right.
That's a problem. But back to Battleground.
And Dean hasn't even had a match since Battleground.
Are they saving him or is he just working a lot of house shows? What's going on?
I have no clue.
But back to Battleground. What else happened? Cena Styles round 2
with the Club and Enzo and Cass.
Oh, that was that 6-man tag. I forgot about that.
And
the whole club lost, which is really.
And Enzo, that whole beginning, his whole outfit. Hey, let's start there. Freaking overalls.
Bruh.
In the ring. He just finds a new way to just look even more weird. And then his old rant at the beginning was on point. It was he was like, I will give you a list of things not to do. He was like, what? Yeah, actually, what was the whole list? I don't remember the Croc part. Where he was like, don't eat yellow snow. And they're crowd would be like, how you doing? Don't look someone in the eye when you're eating a banana. How you doing? Don't wear Crocs. How you doing? Ever. How you doing? Whole thing was glorious, and Cena just sat there in the background. Cena really loves these two. He was hyping him way back at the beginning, the early days of NXT, when they first jumped in, and when it was still FCW, I guess. He's been a big fan of Enzo and Cass, so hopefully, I have no doubt that they're going to do well. They're going to keep rising and rising, and especially Cass, because while Enzo's great on the mic and he's very serviceable in the ring, I think.
But Cass isn't good on the mic, but Cass is. He has a he has a much broader moveset.
Yeah, and Vince, it's not not a rumor, but if you look at the data, if you look at the stars that Vince McMahon has favored on top,
they're these mammoth sized people.
They're usually bigger men. Yeah. Hunter's the one that's been Triple H has been the one that's been we can get the smaller guys up there, and that's part of the reason Daniel Bryan got a shot was because of he's not a bigger guy, but Triple H was this guy can go.
This guy got it. Yeah.
So we'll see where they go from there.
Yeah.
And then there was the main event between
the Shield, just saved the Shield,
and Roman's return because he hasn't been seen in a while because of the situation that happened with.
Did we even know what he got suspended for? We know the reason, but
it was
what it was.
It was Out of a report I saw, it was I think it was called Adderall. It was one of those things where it was something
aside. Adderall for?
I remember. I think hold on.
That doesn't even make sense. Why would you take Adderall?
It was some drug where it was it was one of those things where it wasn't a performance enhancing drug, and that's what everyone thought it was at first. But it was one of those things where it would just cure sickness, but it's just not, the wellness policy doesn't like it. It wasn't like Brock's. Brock's was
yeah, it was pure. That was just bad.
Yeah, and it was multiple tests. It was dude, you're using PEDs. Yeah. And Mark Hunt was just you know what, I want all the money now. Which still, and I found out recently, WWE doesn't test the superstars that are on part time. They don't test them. So if a dude's heart goes out in the ring or something like that, or their muscle explodes, what happens? They don't test part timer. That's weird. So they don't test The Undertaker, which he wasn't needed anyway. But they don't test Brock Lesnar. That's kind of scary
Yeah.
for me personally, because like what? But my thing about Brock is like, what is he needed for?
I don't know if they test Cena. Cena's so damn big.
I buy a Cena though. I buy a Cena.
I feel like he works for it, but there ain't no way he should be that jacked.
My dad would be My dad thought that about Batista and Bobby Lashley, and Lashley came but Dave. Dave was older, so he'd been doing this for years. Like when Dave first got in the industry, he was 30.
Mm-hmm.
So Dave, I was like, I bought that as like, okay, well he's been most of his life bodybuilding, so I was like, all right, well whatever.
Yeah.
Lashley, like he's still progressively huge, and I would just attribute that to him just constantly fighting, like Impact and MMA. So, like he's dual champion right now, I think, or he's about to be. So, and but Roman, yeah, it was some drug. It was something petty. So it was like,
I can't believe you took that. Like, if it was that, I was like, that was one of the worst ones to do. It's like the effects of Adderall don't even correlate with what he would need. Like, I don't know what he needs to have a higher brain capacity for. Like, especially for his job. Like, there's no need. I don't know.
I think it was some. I don't know, but it was some. It wasn't something like controversial or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, but he did. And Seth Rollins did come out and say he was like, this dude apologized to the locker room. He took it upon himself as a locker room leader, went out and apologized for it, and it was like he took it like a man. And the fans are still like iffy on him. Well, some are. Like the kids are fans of Roman
Because he's new Cena.
Right.
He will be the next John Cena.
and women are a fan of Roman because the way the guy looks. It looks like $1 million.
That nigga ugly. Stop
It looks like okay, but he's growing a beard now too. He's kind of like
it. Yeah.
he's kind of and it's kind of making his face kind of look like almost like larger, I guess too. And but like a lot of more older male audience, they just like boo. You hear the boos out the building for Roman Reigns.
Like they had to pipe in cheers. That's how bad it got.
Right. And I'm a fan of Roman.
Same.
Like I think he can go.
Like he was my number one until I realized how much disrespect they gave to Kevin Owens and how talented Kevin Owens actually is.
Right.
Then Kevin Owens came on number one.
Right. And then and I think with Kevin, it's like Kevin and Sammy, but well, even more Kevin than Sammy is like they're guys that they don't look like guys that should be doing this, but they are. So and they're successful at it. And the main event, and it was a good match, and Seth Rollins was kicking butt, Dean Ambrose was doing well, Roman was doing great as best as he could. They turned on him at one point. It's triple threat match. Yeah, like we'll need you for this. And with Dean is all, and I think Dean's solid. I'm not sure about world champ, but I don't know if he'll hold it that long. But I think he's a solid worker.
He'll either hold it through the year, or AJ's gonna smack him for one in this December. I'd say December.
Yeah, but Dean did end up winning the match, and he pinned Roman Reigns. And then it was announced on the first episode of SmackDown Live that there will be brand-specific pay-per-views, and the first one for SmackDown is Backlash. So, and that'll take place after SummerSlam. So, and that's cool to hear. So it's like you don't have a whole pay-per-view dedicated to both brands, so you give them a little space, even separate them even more. And SmackDown Live thus far has been
subpar.
Yeah, and especially in comparison to Raw, because Raw shut off the rocket straight out the gate with their matches, which are great matches, and then Sasha Banks with her women's title match.
They could have just waited until SummerSlam to me. Like
they could have waited.
That would have been so lit had she won at SummerSlam.
That would have been
so.
Because that's what I think everyone was thinking. I was like, they're probably gonna do this at SummerSlam, but the way they did it on Raw was epic.
Yeah, it was cool, but like they had the whole little celebration, yada yada yada. But like, imagine all of that at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn at SummerSlam.
Right. I like the moment where she paid homage to Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
The whole title. I like that moment because I was like, that was really cool. Because I know that's like her number one, and even to the point where at WrestleMania she wore Eddie Guerrero's styled gear. So that was pretty cool. And those two always can do a good match. Like Sasha's spot off the top rope is pretty cool too. It's been a while since I don't know why, but it feels like it's been like a long time since we've seen like divas do moves like that. Like I know there's been some more recently, but I always automatically think about Lita. doing the moonsault off the top, and she left prior to me watching, so that tells you what I know. Finn Balor looks like he earned his title shot.
Man, he got skyrocketed.
Yeah,
there ain't no way to slide. He got
that was a truly happy birthday for him.
Exactly. He got skyrocketed.
Yeah,
like big time. He got skyrocketed.
Yeah, and they made a match with basically because Stephanie gave a verbal lashing to Roman about like you're not a good guy, not a bad guy, you're not the guy, you're just a loser.
See, but the thing about it is like they ripped him up, but they still put him in a fatal 4-way.
Right.
Like if you're gonna rip the dude up, don't involve him in the stuff. Just leave him alone.
Right.
But I'm not in charge for a reason, I guess. So.
Yeah, and then and it looks like they're gonna the way they formatted like the new logo and introductions and everything. It looks like they're formatted okay, and they're gonna put Finn Balor in his matches with guys like Chris Jericho and it was Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, and there's there's 4 competitors in each of them, and Roman's match I know he had Cesaro in his match.
I think Roman had Cesaro, Jericho, and Sami Zayn.
Right. Yeah, it was definitely Sami Zayn.
Because the other one was Finn Balor, Sheamus.
Yeah, Sheamus was the other one.
Finn Balor, Sheamus, Rusev, and Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
And they were good matches. And then Sami picked up the win, Roman picked up the win, and then at the main event, Roman lost. Yeah, he did. He lost to Finn Balor.
And he lost clean too.
And it was a match. I honestly didn't think Finn was gonna win.
Well, I don't.
I didn't think he was gonna win because Roman, they've kind of done the same thing for the last year or 2 years really, where he's at the top but he's not gonna grab the brass. He's not gonna grab the title.
Yeah.
And like almost what Benoit what they did years past is like he's almost gonna get it but he's not going to. But he's always gonna be almost there. And I didn't see them having him lose to the newest guy from NXT.
I mean, but like Finn's coming up was a long time coming, but it was just like
yeah. And
I didn't think he was gonna get that much attention that fast.
Right. But he did. So it sets up for a good match because both Seth Rollins and Finn Balor.
I personally, I know it's not gonna happen at least for a year or so. But I'd much rather see AJ Styles and Seth Rollins.
Yeah, that would be those two. Like and AJ, it's really for me. I think it's a dream match. Like any guy you see step in the ring with AJ Styles in WWE, it's gonna be a dream match. Pretty much the guys.
Depends on who it is.
The guys that they put him in the ring with.
Usually.
Yeah, like so him
like
in the
that, like that Jericho bullshit. That wasn't a dream match.
Yeah, that was like 10 years late. That was a match that was a good 10 years too late.
Yeah.
So like if had they done that when Jericho first came back, when AJ still had the shorter hair in Impact, it'd probably been legit. But
oh, you mean that was like this, like the Jericho's coming to save us or whatever? That was the
yeah.
Oh, I remember that time.
Yeah, and even now he's doing better this year than he has in the last couple. Because I remember in the last couple, it was like he would have matches with CM Punk and stuff like that, and it would be all right. But it was like it's just Jericho. They know he's not going to challenge for anything. And now he's got this whole new gimmick where he wears a scarf and has his hand all out, and it's just kind of weird. But it's entertaining, if anything. Like, and then now, like you said, like they're putting him up with Kevin Owens, so we'll see how that goes. The tag team Canadians.
That's such a waste of his talent. Like, there's no need for him to waste his time with this.
I think there's more for Kevin. There's more. There's got to be more.
There was 100% more for him to do, and he would be much better off on SmackDown.
And he's very. And another thing that Kevin has going for him, he's so freaking entertaining outside the ring as well. Like I've seen his interviews and stuff like that, and I've seen and he's hilarious when he always interacts with anybody. And then, but also in the ring, he's legit championship material.
Exactly, he's a prize fighter. Point blank period, he's a prize fighter.
Yeah. So we'll see. And then like a lot of the roster from Raw, we didn't get to see the match compete. We have and Nia Jax and Braun Strowman are doing their squash matches pretty much, but it's just beat local talent. I do like now though that they're kind of the interviewing him They're
like mid-match, like post-match, or like around the time of the match. Yeah, that's it. I like that SmackDown Live desk. I dig that.
You like that desk?
That's pretty clean.
Yeah, I like the desk too.
It's pretty clean.
I like it. And the SmackDown setup. The SmackDown has a cool setup. They use a lot of. I noticed with the SmackDown matches, the cameras being worked a lot differently.
Oh yeah, I get true.
Because I'm like, they got that crane shot that used to work on the ring. And I'm like, it's cool at some points, but at some point, like I remember in the main event on the first SmackDown Live, where they had
in the 6-pack.
Yeah, there was a moment where at the end of the match, where Cena is hitting everybody with the attitude adjustment.
That was so stupid. Just like on a completely separate note, that was ridiculous. Like, never mind, just keep going.
And then there was a moment where he was like, he hit I forget whoever was last. Was either Apollo or Baron Corbin. And then he just turns, after he hit him with it, he turns around, and you don't see anything, but until the dude lands, but it's a shot. It was supposed to be like a shot of like AJ Styles hitting the phenomenal forearm on him, but you couldn't see AJ up until the moment that they both landed. So you just didn't know what was happening. You just had to assume. And then they fixed it, and just turned. And AJ tried to pick him up, and then turned around, and got super kicked by the latest version of Shawn Michaels. Yeah. So. All right, I'll buy Dolph in the title shot. I don't believe he's going to win, just because of circumstance. He could be a world champ someday, but just not today.
He will never get a chance to be champion again. Point blank period.
I believe it just takes. Here's the thing: it'll have to be a situation almost like this past year, where all the top talent got hurt, like Cesaro and Cena and Orton, like. All your big guys are gone, so you got to go deeper. And they kind of dug themselves a hole to where now you can't go. It's almost like they can't even go back to Cena and Orton and all that because now you got these guys that took the top spot. Like, and even Seth Rollins, like he was gone since December.
But I mean, he was immediately back. He was immediately relevant as soon as he came back.
Yeah. So I don't know what they're gonna do.
But I mean, like. The Dolphin even top 5 on SmackDown. Like, outside of because he's already the champion. The Dolphin top 5 because you got Bray, you got John, you got Randy, you got AJ, and then you got, like, I guess you could, like, include Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews because both of them have been, like, they've been in super championship picture. Like, whether it's for the WWE or Intercontinental, they've been in a championship picture. Like, Dolphin top 5. Like, in person, Dolphin top 5.
I think, let me see. Baron, no, not Baron. Bray, Cena, Orton, AJ.
And then if you include Dean, he's for sure not top 5.
Well then, yeah. So
but I mean, you can throw the Miz ahead of him. I'd rather see the Miz in a match purely based off of his character and his style versus like the new Shawn Michaels.
I watched Miz talk. In the ring, I know what I'm getting with the Miz. With Ziggler,
you know you're getting a wannabe Shawn Michaels. Like, it's the same thing.
He's a fighter. It's almost him and Dean, but I think they're both kind of when they fight, it kind of looks like their shots have like no effect. But I think and Dolph has this, and Randy had this when he was younger as well. They are very smooth in the ring, and that's what it compares to Shawn Michaels. And then the thing is but Randy, he was still pretty much a different fighter. Like, he was more of a brawler and a dirty fighter at that. And Dolph, he doesn't go as hardcore as Randy does. And he's more reliant on his flexibility, his athleticism. Which is why he looks, and that's why he does everything so much like Shawn Michaels. And now he's embracing it now, which could be potentially bad for him. Because...
Not even potentially, that will be bad.
Because it's like, how he's going to break that mold. And then you can't really compare anyone to Shawn Michaels. Just bad of like everything he did, because they're not gonna make a new DX. They shouldn't. Not like that.
I mean, who would they say this?
To pick a Triple H, you guys would get someone that would have to believe they'd be like someone physically intimidating, and then someone who's like just as intimidating on the mic. But I don't know who that would be. Not on a SmackDown roster. Unless they're trying to do Baron Corbin, but he's not physically intimidating. He's just big. But
so you saying you go toe to toe with him? If you say you wouldn't mind going toe to toe to him?
I would rather fight Baron Corbin. I'll say this: I'd rather fight Baron Corbin than Big Cass. And then under that,
Hell no way.
And then probably because Corbin, he'll slam your face into the mat, but I think with like I'd rather fight him because at least then it's like okay, well he'll try to end it quick. Cass will be like, just kick the face off and then slam you. Corbin will just go for the like.
I'd rather be in the ring with Cass.
Yeah, I'd rather. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'd rather. No. Yeah, I'd rather fight Corbin.
No way. I'd rather be in the ring with Cass. No way.
But let's see, and then where are we at now? So in setting up for SummerSlam, it's still Brock versus Randy.
I really don't know who's gonna win. I really don't.
If you'd asked me after the UFC 200 fight,
before we found out Brock was doping.
Right, I would have said Brock.
Exactly.
Because Brock is part-time. He can disappear. Randy's still going to be here. He can take the L.
See, but he's just coming back. You can't, like, I would want him to lose as soon as he comes back. Like, Seth came back, looked like a monster. And then John Cena came back, he's feuding with AJ Styles. And, like, you know what I'm saying? And then, when did Bray come back? Bray came, what did Bray do when he came back?
Bray.
Oh, they started the feud with the New Day and they kept winning.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have Randy lose.
I mean,
that, you can, but I mean,
yeah, that would be the lesser of the two evils. You could be like, okay, Randy, can you believe? Like, all right, sure. But now, knowing what we know about what happened to Brock, which still boggles my mind of why a guy that big needs that. And then, so Brock, and then Randy Orton, who's returning from an injury. I would, if I had to guess, I'd still say, you know what, I'd say Randy probably win that.
Like, post drugs or pre drugs?
Post drugs. Pre drugs, UFC 200, that's the most recent thing we have. Brock wins that SummerSlam match. But, because he's proven he's beast. But after all this, and then Randy's been fired since he's come back, I would vote. I feel safe in saying. I feel pretty safe in saying that. On a 40%, it's like 60-40 right now, for me. Like I think Brock could probably. I think for business reasons, I think they'll probably still have Brock win. But I would not be surprised, and I would be probably happy if Randy won. Randy throws slugs and. Talking about no one. Like it only takes one RKO to get the Viper Pill. No enhancement needed. And Paul Heyman is still yet to retort because Brock don't speak for himself.
Facts.
So we'll see what happens with that. And then Seth versus Finn.
Seth gets the win.
Yeah, I really don't think Finn's gonna win it. I'll be shocked if he wins, but I think Seth's gonna win just out of pure fact that Stephanie wants him to win, and Stephanie gets her way. Dean versus Dolph.
Dean, 100%. That's not even debated. Dean's number one, no debating.
I'm fairly certain Dean's gonna win.
Exactly.
Even though it would, of the two of them, I'd be like, I don't know if I'd want Dean to win, but he's probably going to win.
Dean got to win.
And then
Dean got to win for the culture.
Right. And then I'm pretty sure we're building up to seeing the Club versus the New Day for the tag titles.
They might actually lose too.
I would hope they wouldn't, but if any time for them to lose, it would be now. And with the spot this past Raw where they took out Big E's boys.
Mm-hmm. That was oh my god, that went left very fast.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think the New Day probably will win. I think if they lose the tag titles to anybody, it'll probably be Enzo and Cass.
I think they're gonna lose the SummerSlam. Just keeping it 100. Personally, I think they're gonna lose.
They could. They very well could. And then the Rusev. I don't know what they're gonna do with Roman and Rusev.
I don't even think that's gonna be the real feud, though. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely can't tell right now. I think it very well could be them two, but it also could be, it could be Cesaro or Sheamus or whoever won that match this past week. I didn't see, but it could be one of them. Like, I don't know what they're gonna do with Rusev. He's pretty much run through a whole bunch of people and still hasn't lost.
And he's good, and I think with him, it's more like he reminds me of kind of like Umaga.
Not in the same fashion.
Yeah, not in the same fashion, but he kind of reminds me of like this. He's a big threat, and he's very good at what he does.
Yeah.
And he's very hard to put down just to put him down on the mat.
Right.
And he can have a good match with a lot of people. He's a good in-ring performer, and he knows how to get the crowd against him.
Yeah. All you gotta do is say something about America, it's automatic trigger.
Right. This past week it was like, something about the Olympics.
They don't want the Russians to compete because they know we'll win everything.
Yeah, he's like they stopped like the countries like Russia and Bulgaria.
So they let the lousy Americans compete, so they'll win. All this other stuff.
Right.
Oh.
And then I don't know. And Roman, I know they're gonna do some semi-huge or big with Roman because they just have to at this point. Like they can't put him at the bottom right now.
Exactly.
So.
And I don't know what they're gonna do with the Miz.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. He's gonna be fighting Apollo Crews.
Oh yeah, he's fighting Apollo Crews and.
There ain't no way
match.
Apollo's gonna win either.
Yeah, I don't know about Apollo winning that match.
Intercontinental Championship.
If he did win that, I would still be confused because I'm like, you're letting him win the Intercontinental title, but I think the guy that did what Apollo's doing now, but better, was Neville, and Neville's not getting the title shot.
He got hurt,
yeah, even before he got hurt, he was like, Neville was like not getting any title shots except for the one Cena did the thing where.
Bro, Cena, like, he jobbed so many of those matches, but they had a superhero moment.
Yeah.
Just hit 1 AA, and that was just the automatic victory. Like, it was
right.
ridiculous.
So.
I hated that. I mean, like, it was entertaining because, like, you never knew who was going to fight, but you always knew he was going to win, so it was really annoying. Until he had the Kevin Owens feud, which made me, that was dope.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens kicked his ass. I like that.
So, I'll be shocked if Apollo wins. Cause I don't know. Miz and Maurice, they're probably going to pull something.
True.
Like slide, because that's just the way it is.
And then we'll set it up for the next pay-per-view where it will be Maurice barred from ringside or like no DQs or some shit.
Yeah. And they're still pretty. What is it? There's still like a lot of talent that there's. I think with Raw and Raw's gotten to jump on the ship. Like SmackDown hasn't. I don't think SmackDown has developed like, oh, this is a new era. It still kind of feels like they're still dragging off from everything. Raw's kind of been like, oh yeah, they've really shown that they're trying to do something different, by like
Sasha winning and Finn getting a title shot and a new championship and all this other stuff.
Yeah, so it looks like they're really starting to go off and do something new, and SmackDown still kind of feels like they're still a little bit behind on that, but that can easily be changed. And then the match that I'm still most I really cannot predict who's going to win. It's just AJ versus Cena.
Who won the first one? Cena. Yeah, AJ's gonna win this one. I don't know who's gonna win round 3, but AJ's gonna win this time.
AJ won at Money in the Bank due to club interference.
Oh yeah, Rose.
And then,
so Cena might win this time.
And then at Battleground, the tag team match, Cena won with an attitude adjustment off the top rope to AJ.
If they count this as round 3, then AJ will win. Now, if they count it as round 3, Cena's gonna win. But if they don't, if they count it as round 3, AJ should win, but Cena's probably gonna win. But if it's only round 2, I think Cena will win.
Yes, that whole Barry thing.
Yeah.
And I don't want AJ to have the same problem. Well, I don't want AJ to do the same thing Dean did because when Dean did it, it made me mad. Because Dean lost so many matches leading up to the Money in the Bank, and then he won that, and then he cashed in, and then he became champ. And he defended it the one time, and then now, if you saw in this thing with Dolph Ziggler, he was like, yeah, I'm the best, and I've done it all. I'm like,
yeah,
beating almost nobody.
But, I mean, he beat the 2 top dogs of the company besides
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah, he beat his brothers. And then it's like everyone else he's just lost the job to, so.
I mean, he really never feuded with anybody else except for, like, them 2.
I think he did, yeah, he did with the
Brock.
He did with Bray, he did with,
and Brock, and that was it.
And then he had a match with Triple H at Roadblock.
And
for the title, and I knew, we all figured Triple H was going to hold on to it.
Everybody knew he was going to lose that one.
Because Triple H is Triple H, and
he had to fight Roman at Mania since Seth was hurt.
Yeah, and honestly, that was it's nice seeing Triple H when you can, because I know he's doing a lot for the company behind the scenes with NXT and stuff. So it's just seeing him when you can. Having that title was pretty cool, but I think AJ needs to win because he can't keep losing these pay-per-view fights.
He just can't keep losing. Period. He keeps taking pins left and right. He's been losing all the time. Like, he just needs to win for, like,
I think the reason they're having him lose so much is because of that name, AJ Styles. Like everybody knows he's good and he can't beat anybody on any given day. So that's why they're probably having him lose a lot because that name AJ Styles. But like, you can't have him sacrifice himself that many times and expect to get a pop every time or whatever.
Right. Because then he won't be. Then he won't look like the elite.
Yeah, he won't be the phenomenal.
Be phenomenal.
So.
So, yeah, and that it looks like that's what's gonna be. So we'll see. We still got weeks leading up to SummerSlam, so we'll see how it goes.
It's 2 weeks from this coming Sunday.
I believe so.
Okay.
And we'll probably talk about it at some point. We'll probably be back on and like show the results. I don't know about live and everything, but we'll see on the results. Yeah. And I just want to throw this in out there too. This 2K17 for WWE looks like it's coming out. Goldberg's DLC. Brock is the cover athlete. I'm sure the game is going to be great, and they've done doing the pre-order things now. I just want to get it out there that I will not. I just have a problem. I will not pre-order that game until I see some form of gameplay. Like I will not put down $60+ for the game until I see what it's actually getting for it. Just because otherwise it's just going to throw me off. I'm excited for the game. Like I know they're doing fighting in the crowd this year. AJ Styles is finally in the game.
Is Shinsuke Nakamura going to be in the game as well?
I would assume so, but I remember this past 2K16, they didn't have any of the 4 Horsewomen, but they were there.
But no, because it's like I think there's like some NXT people down, like some NXT like roster member like pre-order bonus, and I don't remember the 3 people.
It was Samoa Joe, Blake and Murphy, and then it was like, might have been Alexa Bliss, but it wasn't any of the 4 Horsewomen. And I only know this because it was like I remember looking at it and they were like, they didn't have them there because the community creations. It was like the constant top ones was like Becky Lynch was like top, and then Sasha Banks, and then Charlotte. So I was like, it was a disappointment that they weren't there, even though they were on the active main roster at the time. Yeah. So hopefully they'll have Shinsuke there, or at least as a DLC. Yeah. Because King of Strong Style, his title is going to be good. I've only seen him in like a couple matches, and when I first saw it, I was like, oh, Strong Style, does that just mean aggressive? Because like I've seen him like he'll just kick your face in, like against the ropes, but. Other than that, and then he has a match with Finn Balor, and I thought that was a pretty good match. So hopefully they'll have Shinsuke there and Joe, and then they'll have who are the picks? I'm just hoping, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna have a career mode for Brock Lesnar, or was it the showcase mode for Brock Lesnar? So that would be my hope, so I can figure out a way to get Kurt Angle in there. But that's pretty much about it. And then I'm pretty sure. Depending on when they did this deal with Shelton.
I hope he's not in the game.
I don't know.
I mean, I doubt he'll be in the game because he came back to.
And even if he isn't this community creation, there's people on community creation. They're so no pun intended, but so phenomenal at making some of these characters. Like I got an AJ Styles for 2K16. It looks dead on spot on about him. You said and everything. They're phenomenal at creating this stuff.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, so hopefully the roster will be great. I could only hope that they do a better design of Batista. Because there's some roster stuff that was leaked out that showed like the spots and everything. Some people looked through it, they're like, so people looked through it and they were like, it could only be this superstar because you can't have like it say like they would do it by names. So it'd be like how many superstars could you pick from like Rusev to like Seth Rollins? So like, there's only so many names you could put there, so you could dissect which ones would probably be in the game and whatnot. And it looks like doing that, they figured out that like Batista's probably going to be in the game. So hopefully they do a better design because I didn't like the 2K16 one or 15 for that matter. The retro Batista was fine, but the current one was a beard, and it was like it just looks weird because 2K doesn't know how to do hair. Like I played the NBA 2K, they have not made their Messi's hair right ever. Like, his hair has always been weird, so I don't know. But I think that'll wrap it up right now. yeah, we got a lot to show. I want to thank my guest here, TJ.
Thank you for having me. It's much appreciated. We covered a lot of ground today. I'd like to say.
Right. There's gonna be a lot of editing for me. I'll be sitting there editing for like hours, just trying to just trying to get this right. It's probably and it's which as you guys can probably tell because if you're watching this on YouTube right now, it's audio only. I'm trying to figure stuff out so I can probably do visuals at some point later down the road. But right now it's just audio easier. This will be my issue 2 for 3319. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to like and subscribe and all that.
Show my man some love. He's working hard out here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do a whole bunch of stuff and trying to keep the phase 2 going. I got a lot of stuff coming up. I'm still trying to do a lot of.
We got major plans coming up. Major key. Be on the lookout. We got plans.
Yeah, we're still trying to build an empire, I guess. Not the Roman Empire because it's already taken, but we're still trying to do some cool stuff. And I got to be on the lookout. I got more guests. My next guest, I told you guys I was going to bring on my Winter Soldier, Alexis, but considering all things considered, she might be postponed a little bit. But my next guest will be another one of my good friends, B Max Hat, Jonathan. Dude, believe me when I tell you guys are gonna enjoy this podcast. It's gonna be a lot more geeky than this one, but you're gonna enjoy this. Trust me, you're gonna love this guy. So, thank you guys for listening, watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Adios.
Why?